guys, it's Des with Divine Geomatrix DG readings. I'm outside today. I needed to get some fresh air. I've been cooped up in the house with my thoughts and feelings, and let me just tell you, I'm going through it too, guys. Just because I am spiritually awakened doesn't necessarily mean that I don't go through some of the things that we all go through, right? So I recently came out of a pretty deep depression, and then I started to find myself again. And as I was finding myself again, Divine Geomatrix started to become more of a physical thing rather than just an idea. I'm very happy to say that I'm here and I own my own business. It's been scary, most definitely scary. It's been a lot of work, still is a lot of work, but as I'm learning a lot about my business and how to run my business, I'm learning a lot about myself. I tend to browbeat really hard. And for those who aren't familiar with that expression, browbeating is basically just being very hard on myself, being too stern, too aggressive, saying things to myself that I wouldn't say to someone else. Basically calling myself names that aren't through love, saying things that, basically putting myself down in some way. And I just want you guys to know that if that's the case, if you guys are in the same boat, what I'm personally learning is what can easily get you out of that state is love. Is learning to not only love yourself unconditionally, but learning to live life through love. So we are all mirrors of each other. And with everything that's been going on in our society today, we need to understand that we are all collectively healing. We need to love each other. We need to respect each other. We need to show consideration and compassion toward each other because we are all mirrors of each other. So if you see someone out in public that is irking you in some way, or somehow it's just really not making you feel great, look inside and ask yourself why. Ask yourself, what is it that this person is doing or saying, or how this person is, that really is not sitting right with me? And you're going to find an answer there that you may or may not like right away, but later it will start to click and you'll be like, okay, I understand why now. And I feel like where we're at with society, with this disease, with this virus, whatever you want to call it, on an energetic level, it's serving its purpose to help us look internal. So, I personally don't really want to talk about the subject on a physical, in a very physical way. I kind of just, I'm bringing it up because I want to talk about the energy that this whole thing comes with. This energy is most definitely healing. And we as individuals have run our day to day so aggressively that we've been browbeating. We've been aggressive with the way that we speak to ourselves. And we're forced to now look internal. Being in quarantine, stuck at home, you're basically stuck with your thoughts. You're basically stuck with your feelings. And regardless if you're home alone or not, if you have family that live with you or whatever, you are still probably thinking about those thoughts and feelings. Live through love. If there's a thought that comes into mind, accept it. Ask yourself, okay, why is this thought here? And push out love. Just accept it and remember that you are love. It might be easier said than done. There might be deeper thoughts than I'm even talking about, but coming out of a very dark hole, what I can tell you from experience is meditation, sitting in silence. It could be physically meditating, or just sitting in silence in general. It could be going into your backyard if you have one, or just stepping outside of your door for a second to get a breath of air and just closing your eyes for a second and just listening to the sounds that are around you. No phone, no one around you to distract you, just that simple breath of fresh air and that sound, the sounds around you. Try it and see what emotions or what feelings you start to surface at that time. And if those thoughts continue, spend a little bit more time taking a few more breaths, getting to that point that you're okay, I'm calm, or okay, I'm okay. We all need that reminder that all is well, that even if this world may seem chaotic and unsure and crazy and all the above, at least we can find some sort of sanity and serenity and peace in ourselves. Whether you believe in God, Creator, Source, the Divine, Mother Gaia, it really doesn't matter what you believe in. But energetically, what we're going through as a society is healing. So for those who are new to my channel, I want to say welcome. Again, I'm Des. I am an intuitive empath. I am a light worker, a spiritual healer, a spiritual community leader. I'm an oracle card reader. I study Reiki, healing touch, all the above. Oh, and not to mention, I wrap gemstone jewelry. So Divine Geomatrix was founded originally because I started wrapping gemstone jewelry. And then as I started to open up spiritually to different realms, I noticed that there's so much to this umbrella. And Divine Geomatrix is now no longer just a jewelry business. It is just a spiritual, it's a business that was founded to awaken the community on a spiritual level, to provide a little bit more clarity and provide messages that the divine may want to talk about with our collective. So thank you for being here. I want to clear some space by playing my Tibetan singing bowl. So for my viewers out there, if you guys can just breathe in and out fully, wholeheartedly. Open up your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your crown chakra, your third eye chakra, and just really engulf these messages and see how you can apply them to your everyday life. I'm going to start by doing a weekly collective reading. So this has no gender, this has no this is just energy. this has no time. So for you guys out there who are new, energy does not have time, so it is endless. Just because I'm recording this on the 31st of March does not mean that it is only for this day. So yeah, let's go ahead and just breathe in and out as a collective and open up our hearts to receive any messages that the divine has in store. Thank you, angels. Alright, and for those who have watched my videos before, welcome back. I know I didn't give you guys a highlight, I'm sorry. I know that you guys are all used to me burning Palo Santo. However, today I'm going to burn sage. The reason being is because before quarantine started, I went over to Inkapa Mountains and I met this guy there named Coyote. He not only showed me the mountain where I can find clear quartz, raw clear quartz, but also sage. So I picked some sage and I let it dry. I wrapped it for the first time. So this is my first fully bundled sage. And I wanted to burn it to clear some space for this video. So yeah. Oi. That was graceful. All right. I burnt this in my room when I was cleaning. I was disinfecting, I'm sure, as all of you guys have been. And I've been clearing energy. So what I recommend right now, especially right now, guys, is burn sage, or even palo santo, maybe even incense if you have them. Some people work really well with diffusers and essential oils. Whatever it is, guys, it could be any of those things, but definitely you want to clear your space. Could be in your room, in your house, anywhere. Okay. Angels, please clear this space to provide the clearest messages for our collective. Some for you. All right. It smells bomb. It's actually not as potent as I thought it would be. All right. So I did reset my decks, but I am going to shuffle regardless. Okay, spirits, please provide the clearest message that you may have in store for the collective for the week of March 31st through April 2nd? March 30th through April 2nd. Yesterday was Sunday, right? You get the point. Okay, so I'm chuckling because the cards are just, cards don't lie, okay? First of all, for the collective energy, what I received is self-discovery. So to me, self-discovery is talking about looking internal, finding what it is that makes you you, and how you can show up to the world to be that authentic self, to help that domino effect, that collective change. Wow. Sorry, guys. Underneath self-discovery is sacral chakra. Sacral chakra is basically your creative energy. It is definitely the chakra that is in charge of like your relationships, so not only with yourself but others. But what I'm really getting here with these two cards being at the bottom of the deck is right now we're finding things that, like hobbies that we can turn into a way of living, finding what makes us different from others, what sets us apart from others due to the creative energy that we might have internally. And while we find those things, especially right now being in quarantine, you're probably doing a lot more things that you didn't have time for in the past, especially for those who are laid off. If you work at home now, you probably do have a little bit more time to have like a break here and there. It could be to do some stretches at home, to have time with your kids. It could be to scrapbook or to write. Whatever you are now doing that you weren't doing before, eventually you might discover that you can actually make a living out of it and show up for the world by being your authentic self. I smiled at those two because when you look at the other three cards that I pulled, you have Eagle Medicine, Universal Love, and Surrender. So Eagle Medicine talks about how we have always had these traditions and ancient wisdom that have been passed down from generation to generation. Somewhere along the road, we have lost insight we have lost insight on the things that assisted our past generations to survive. So it could be as simple as, instead of buying all these processed foods and going to the store all the time, it was more of like agricultural farming and, you know, somehow making it themselves. So we have lost touch of those hands-on things that, you know, way of doing things that have assisted our past generations and our ancestors that can easily still work to this day. But because we have become more of a 3D society, more of a physical, materialistic society, we have forgotten that there are ways to do it without having to rely on big companies and corporations. So this card specifically talks about, if you can see it, it talks about how we have the power of healing, and it has been passed on from generation to generation. These teepees all around here actually talk about they represent the generations that have been passed on, the wisdom that has been passed on. Eagles are known to be majestic birds, but beyond that, they're healing birds. When you see an eagle soaring and flying, it represents power, it represents freedom, it represents strength. So it feels like we're now learning and remembering who we are, who we've always been, and that we have the power to heal not only ourselves but those around us through all these old ways of doing things, and kind of bringing in the two, like the modern and the past, together. So finding a new way of honoring our past, being completely in the present, not having to rely so much on big companies and corporations, but doing it our own way, the way that has always been in the past. Unconditional love, I think this one speaks for itself. However, if you look in the center of that lotus flower, those three little things that are supposed to be the center, to me, those represent generations. To me, if you see 1, 2, and 3, it looks like women. For me, it has that feminine energy because it's in a lotus flower. I mean, obviously, I could be mistaken. It could be just the feminine energies within. So we all have like masculine and feminine energies within ourselves, aside from just our partners, right? So what it feels like is we're learning how to tap into that feminine energy that we hold inside ourselves to become more compassionate, to become more loving, to become more understanding. And so what this feels like is allowing ourselves to open up and find that vulnerable spot. But being transparent and vulnerable isn't always a bad thing. Especially at this time right now, we all should be a little bit vulnerable, but not in a way that we're aggressively pushing each other away and thinking every man to themselves. I feel like right now we need to open up ourselves and be vulnerable together, help each other out. You know, if you feel that you may not have a whole lot to give, then how can you help someone else without forking out the cash to help them, or without straining your bodies with, to help them? You're going to find that at times like this, you're going to be tested to assist your neighbors. And that's what it feels like here, is having each other's back, helping each other, living in this divine matrix instead of this physical world. So I also noticed in here these like squiggly things. It feels like this is being watered. So energy, right? So it feels like these can even be like our angels, all of the divine messengers that are around us, right? So we're not alone. And all of these angels, all of these spiritual sources are providing us the energy to bloom into this unconditional, beautiful, loving being, and having each other back. Domino affecting, again, that change. Isn't that beautiful? That's awesome. Yeah. And I've never seen all that in this card before. I've pulled this card so many different times, and I think because I'm channeling specifically for what's going on right now, this is definitely a weekly reading, but it feels like, because I haven't done one in a while, and this is my first video with everything that's been going on in our society, this is going to be pertaining to COVID. So yeah, we're collectively healing, guys. We're tapping into that energetic power. We're being watered from the divine, from the source, into ourselves, and we're having each other's back. Therefore, giving into that cycle again, renewing that cycle again. Beautiful. Surrender. This card is why I chuckled. So surrendering has been a difficult lesson for me, and has been for a very long time. I'm sure this is definitely something that a lot of other people feel the same about. Surrendering doesn't always mean that you give up. Surrendering means you understand that you can't always control everything. And that right there is the hardest part. We, since birth, I'm sure, we wanted to control things. We wanted to be the one to basically start and finish something. And I can understand, I can definitely relate, but at the end of the day, the more we let go, the more that we give to source, give to God, give to Mother Gaia, again, whatever you believe in. We allow that worry, that fear, that those diseases, eases, to be given to the divine. And you can sit there and say, but how do you know that just by giving it to them that everything's going to be fine? Well, that's the tricky part, is having faith. So you can sit there and surrender, you can, give up that control all you want, but by having faith, you know in your heart, without having proof in your face, that everything's going to be fine. Someone has your back and is watching down on you and is making sure that your next move is the right move. Obviously, you can do your part by opening your heart, opening your intuition, opening up your crown chakra to receive the messages. When you do that, it's easier to have the faith and to let go and surrender and give all of the worry, all of the fear over to the divine, over to source, over to creator, over to God, over to Mother Gaia, etc., 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 to know that you're going to be taken care of. So let's go dive a little bit deeper, guys. I'm going to go in with the energy oracle cards. Yes, so surrender to that unconditional love. Remember that there have been a lot more generations that have lived here besides what we physically see. And if they lived however long that they've lived, in the eras that they lived in, then why can't we survive being in this tech savvy world, being in this in a more comfortable position than we were, decades ago? But it's because as a society we've learned somehow to treat each other so nasty and so just disgusting that we're lacking the love, and that's why Mother Gaia is suffering. I personally believe that, again, we are collectively healing. Bottom of the deck is victory. We are collectively healing. I fully believe that whatever you're being called to do, when you surrender to that fear, to any worry, you're going to have success. So think about it, guys. Think about what it is that makes you different. Man holding a coin. Magician in the mirror, all tied up. Okay. Okay. So the first card that I pulled is man holding a coin, but it was in reverse. The second card that I pulled is Magician in the Mirror, and this is upright. Very powerful card. All tied up, and this is upright. And then Rest and Rejuvenation, and this was in reverse. Okay, so to give you guys a little bit more of a clear message, I'm going to just skim through number 43, which is man holding a coin. It says, this card reverse reveals that you could be acting against your own best interests where money or health matters are concerned. You might be spending a bit too much or simply not be cautious enough about what's really important. If that's the case, become more aware of your choices and priorities and bring more discipline to your life. This card reverse could also be warning of self-absorbed or dismissive man who may be out of his own advancement, even at the cost of your own. Be conscious of the critical or demanding men around you, and always remember that you alone determine who has the real power in your life. So keep in mind, energies are fluid. So just because it said man physically said man in that book doesn't mean that it meant a physical man. It could be masculine energies. It could be anything that has a little bit more of a masculine energy to it. Okay, so yeah, I personally can relate to that card. I feel like my priorities have been completely everywhere. With everything going on with COVID, I've been losing my mind, like a lot of you. I'm trying to find any sort of sanity that I can, and what I can do is meditate. What I can do is give myself those few moments of recollecting my thoughts to ground myself for a second, and reevaluating my priorities. So that's the first thing on my list is, sorry guys, first thing on my list is to reevaluate my priorities, see where I'm spending my time, how I have been spending my money, and whatever money I do have, and changing my perspective on that. So, yeah, perspective is key, but also being aware. You definitely want to be aware of the energies that are around you. So by grounding yourself, you can separate your energies from those around you. It talks about how it's warning you that there could be an individual who's not necessarily out there for your best interest. So be aware of that. Magician in the Mirror, this is a power card. So this talks about how you have the potential to be a spiritual healer. It talks about how we are healing, and the basically the choice is yours. Hold on. 53. Knowing and using your true power, it says. It's the culmination of personal and spiritual power. These are the flame of passion and action, and the right hand is a vortex of water and light of reflection. This is telling you that you are the magician, and within your grasp are the amazing forces of earth and spirit. The water is the energy of yin and the power of spirit and clarity of thought. The flame is the energy of yang, bringing direction and creativity. Together they give you the magnificent magic of transformation. The mirror stands beside the magician, reflecting the outer world's response to your choice to use the true power that you have. It is... Sorry guys, give me a second. It says that you are the alchemist of your life, and just as the alchemist turns base metals into gold, you are now able to transform your difficulties into great blessings. Direct your destiny, and the mist of the future will clear into brilliant reality. So yeah, we're collectively healing, and what it feels like so far. So kind of going back to these two, these definitely correlate. And I want to even say maybe even this card, you know, but yeah, let go and find what it is that makes you unique, what makes you you. Okay, so the next card is All Tied Up. All Tied Up talks about how there might be some energies, like you might be sitting in some energies that aren't serving in your best interest. You could be sitting in some thoughts that are detrimental to your health, but at the end of the day, you can easily wiggle yourself out of here and set yourself free. So if you look closely to this card, the ropes are supposed to signify feeling tied up, but in reality, they're loose enough that she could probably wiggle herself out. So I'm sure, like myself, you guys are going through some stuff that might be, in a sense, leading to those rabbit holes. And when you jump in to those rabbit holes, you feel stuck and you feel like there's no way out. But in all reality, you are your own light. You are the light that has been given to you from source, from divine. You are a little bit of, you know, this big ball of energy, this beautiful, pure white light that is in you. And when you find that power within yourself, you can easily set yourself free and be in this energy, self-discovery, and the victorious energy. So look internal and figure out what are those thoughts that are really bringing you down. So if you, let's just say right now, you know, I'm doing this reading. Let's say all of a sudden I don't like what I just said and I wanted to stop the video. Instead of doing that, I can change my thought for a second and say, you know what? No, you're being as authentic as you possibly can. No sugarcoating anything. This is your raw self, and the more that you show up as your raw self, the more you allow other people to show up as their raw selves. So, you know, that's just a little example, but I'm sure that there are deeper thoughts. It could be revolved around money. I know that right now a lot of us are going through it and worried about paying our bills, worried about making mortgage or making rent or making our car payment on time. But at the end of the day, guys, those material things, they're physical things. They're not as important as the spiritual being inside of you. And if you tend to that spiritual being, you might notice that you're able to meet some of those physical things that we have been so fixated on for the last decade, X amount of decades. I want to kind of clear a little bit more, clear up some energy here. So, I didn't even talk about this one. Okay, so rest and rejuvenation. Rest and rejuvenation, it in reverse talks about the lack of rest and rejuvenation. So it feels like, although we're being quarantined, we're losing our damn minds with all this free time. Guys, right now is the time to rest. We have been on the go for so long. Our bodies and Mother Gaia needs a rest. So think about it. If we're energetic beings and we're walking on this earth, right? Think of how it used to be before quarantine. Like people walking all the time, running even, cars everywhere, smog in the air, just energy everywhere. And if we as in one individual have the amount of energy that we are going through, it could be thoughts, it could be like physical energy, just, you know what I mean? Like just energy in general. So all of those energies as one individual walking on this earth, your feet are planted on the earth. So the energy you're receiving and exerting is also being given back to Mother Gaia, being given back to Mother Earth. So that's just one person. But imagine however many people that have been out there, you know, on the go, having God knows what thoughts in their own mind, having their own energy field. It could be completely out of balance. So those people are sending energy to Mother Gaia, and Mother Gaia is over here trying to replenish herself, but she can't do it because of all the energy she's receiving. So I feel right now when we're being stuck inside, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for us looking internal in our physical crevice to our internal bodies, to our energetic bodies, to heal. And while Mother Gaia, while Mother Earth is also doing the same. So think about that, guys. Change your perspective a little bit. This is a time to rest. This is a time to actually enjoy the solidarity. It's a time to enjoy the quiet and the stillness. We're not used to it, but it's a time to finally get ourselves to enjoy it. Because when we sit in stillness, we find clarity in the stillness. We find answers in our stillness, in our quiet. So enjoy that. Take the time to enjoy it. Find some sort of peace in this extra time that you might have. Okay, now with that being said, let's go ahead and get a little bit more clarity. Spirit, what other messages do you have for us? Bear with me, guys. I'm still getting a hang of this shuffling situation, okay? Oh, all those cards? Damn it. I thought I had my pendulum in my pocket, but I don't. But yes, this is most definitely our cards. Okay. Bottom of the deck, adjacent possibilities. This feels for sure about talking about finding what it is that sets you apart and how you can make a difference, how you can, look back at our ancestors and find out what are the things that we did in the past that worked, and how can I modernize, you get the point, to better this situation and to make some money off of it. Patience talks about having patience with the world and with what's going around. It could be within your own selves. It could be with society and what's been going on around you. Broken heart reverse talks about how we are collectively, excuse me guys, people just got home, so bear with me. This talks about having healed from a broken heart. This could be on an individual level, and it could be on a collective level. So I feel like this represents Mother Gaia, and we've been slowly but surely killing her or breaking her heart. We're now healing that broken heart and moving forward collectively. First chakra, Archangel Michael. So I love Archangel Michael. He is one of my archangels that I call upon a lot. He's my protector. He doesn't converse very much, but he definitely protects. He guards. He warns off any negative energy. And he is always with you if you ask him. So I feel like he talks about getting out of the fight or flight mode, learning how to find your own power, find your own strength, but definitely getting out of that fight or flight mode. So I feel like with the more that we've been revolving around this 3D way of life, we've been in that fight or flight, and that's not always a good thing, because that's where a lot of the judgment starts to come from, and a lot of the miscommunication, just the judgment and the negative energies that we might be pushing upon each other. But with all of these cards, it really talks about how at the end it's going to be a victorious outcome. It's going to be successful. We just have to have the patience within ourselves and within our society to really collectively heal. But we can do our part by healing ourselves and to tap into our personal power, our personal spiritual power, and create a way of doing things that might honor our past but also serve its purpose in our present moment. So think about it, guys. You are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. What do you need to release? Yes. It's time to release negativity. Look at the bigger picture. The answers you need are coming. That was the collective card. One more. Work through your fears. I think those definitely cap everything that I've been talking about. They definitely talk about feeling good enough about yourself, looking at the bigger picture instead of seeing it so just physically. You want to look at it on an energetic level. Again, look at it through Mother Gaia's perspective. Divine Temple Crystal. I am deeply connected to and an expression of the divine source of the universe. Yes. Please, if you have to screenshot this, screenshot it. Please repeat this, because you are the divine source. You have the power to create anything you potentially want to. You have the love, the light. So lead with your heart. Release what no longer serves. And if you need me, I'm not very far. I hope you guys found some insight in this. I hope this was helpful. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. With love and light always. Namaste.